Week 9 and then week 9. Spencer, week 9.
I know.
Week 9 in the National Football League featuring World of Matchups, NFL handicapping podcast coming to you guys live and direct from cold Las Vegas, Nevada this morning. My name is Dexter Reed, and on the other side of the glass, my A1 from day one and producer of WOM. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in Spencer the Wiz. Morning, bro.
Yeah, it's good, man. I'm part of that season where I'm starting to catch my. I have some bets. The NBA's back on too, man. I love betting the NBA, so I'm like kind of on fire there. So it feels good. I hit my parlay last week. I'm hitting 3 in a row now in the NBA, so I'm really feeling it now. I'm feeling confident about my picks at this point in the season.
All right, let's go. Let's make some money. Set it off. Who's first?
Yeah, we have the Cowboys. They are visiting Atlanta. Yeah, talk about two teams going in opposite directions. In a way, I guess it's been a bit of a shaky journey for the Falcons, but they are 5-3, so I guess it's about where you expect them to be. I don't really know what you expect to get out of Dallas at this point in the season. You know, if Jerry had any sort of guts, he would fire Mark McCarthy today or a long time ago and promote offensive coordinator Kellen Moore to the head coaching spot. You know, obviously not giving him the job outright, but certainly I feel like he's always been one of these young coaching candidates that's floated around every offseason because he's such a good offensive mind. Now, you don't know if he's going to be a good head coach, but if you're Jerry Jones, wouldn't you like the opportunity, you know, as your 3-4 Cowboys go to visit Atlanta to see if this young guy could become a head coach? And I feel like he very well could be, but you know, that's obviously not going to happen. Jerry Jones is way too proud. I'm not sure what the line is on this game. I have to pull them up here in just a second, but I do like the Falcons. I think it's a short line from what I remember seeing.
Three and a half.
It seems like a lot, and I could easily see this being hit by the hook, but I kind of don't think I can bet on the Cowboys right now in any sort of conceivable way. They just play so poorly. And also, there is a part of it where they just have a massive injury bug going around. I believe there was a Diggs injury in practice this week too, if I saw that correctly. Deron Bland is out. We already know that Micah Parsons has been hurt. I mean, when you think of all these things together, the Cowboys were really so dependent on Micah Parsons' pass rush because you have these cornerbacks that are so aggressive when it comes to like getting interceptions, and you can get away with that when you're pressuring the quarterback, right? The quarterback throws some bad throws. And what you've seen so far, you know, in this little absence is, besides the fact that some of their secondary is injured, they're starting to get torched a bit here. And if you're worried about your secondary being torched, this is a horrible matchup for you because it really looks like Kyle Pitts is now finally starting to find his own. I mean, it took like 4 years, I guess now, but what you see of the product on the field, I mean, the guy was like almost unstoppable last week. And I don't think that was a fluke. I certainly think that's what all of us kind of expected to see out of him. And I think you could see a lot more of that on Sunday. So, yes, the field goal hook does make me a little nervous, but the Falcons are at home. It's time for them to have another definitive victory and slide into that 6-3 record.
I'm not worrying about the hook. I'm not. If the Falcons are who they think they are or who they want everyone else to think they are, this is a game that they have to win at home and win in a convincing fashion. So I'm going to take the Falcons as well, minus the 3.5. I like everything you said about the Falcons. I think this is more about who the Cowboys are no longer. Okay? They paid Dak, which was a monumental mistake because Dak is nothing special. Okay? Dak is a very mid quarterback. If CeeDee Lamb is off this team, Dak is Black Daniel Jones. Let's be honest, okay? They have no run game to speak of. I mean, you're promoting guys from your practice squad to play on Sundays. I mean, this is a bad team. And Kellen Moore's gone. Kellen Moore went to Philadelphia. Now they have Brian Schottenheimer, Spence. And so if they even if they promote Brian Schottenheimer, it's not going to be much of a difference. This is the mess that Jerry created. And I've said it a million times on this show, guys. This is what happens when you have an owner that wants to be the GM and the HC. Mike McCarthy is just a puppet. He's the Joe Biden of the NFL. He's there, but he's not really there because we all know that Jerry pulls all the strings. You take Micah Parsons out with injuries. The run defense has been absolutely deplorable in Dallas. And I decided after taking Dallas last week and watching them fold versus the 49ers that I can't take them again this season, man. I mean, it really has to be pretty positive circumstances for me to take them again. I'm like, they'd have to be playing like the Panthers at home on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't do it. They're a house of cards. They're falling apart. I mean, I'm starting to think like, if they didn't pay CeeDee Lamb, how long would it be before he was pushing his way out of Dallas? That's how bad it really is. They're just not good. And everyone thinks that they're good because they're the Dallas Cowboys. The Star is a brand. It's like Starbucks. Okay? It's always going to be around. It's like the Golden Arches in McDonald's. You're always like the Yankee insignia. Everyone knows it. Doesn't mean you're good. And I think that the Atlanta Falcons take a huge step here. I think they run Bijan Robinson till he can't walk here. Mix in Tyler Algier. I like what you said about Kyle Pitts, and it's true. And Drake London is good. Protect Kirk Cousins, and this is a resounding Falcons win.
All right, let's jump over to the second game here. We have the Denver Broncos. They are visiting the Baltimore Ravens. Bit of a hard game to call, but truthfully, I feel fairly confident in the Ravens' ability here. I know the worry thing is Lamar Jackson has not been practicing, but it seems like it was more of like rest days than any real injury. Kind of hard to tell, I guess, but from the word of Lamar Jackson himself, he says he's fine. He just needed to get right for the game. I think that's how he put it. So, okay. I think the Broncos are a bit of a house of cards. They've beaten some very bad teams like the Raiders and the Panthers and the Saints, like at their lowest points of the season. That's 3 wins right there. And we've seen some really bad performances out of Bo Nix. I mean, they have really not beaten anyone of note. You know,
Beat the
they've kind of
Buccaneers
got.
on the road. That's a signature win, bro.
I guess. Okay. I'll give you that one. But I'm going to take the Ravens here. I really, if the Broncos win this game, then I have to reconsider everything that I've ever thought about the Broncos this season. Now, they've been better than I thought they would be, for sure. But I think that comes along with having a really decent head coach. You just find ways to win games, right? And he's done that. But this is not going to be one of those games where they just have to find a way to win. This is going to be one of those games where they're going to be playing from behind, you know, probably more than not. So is Bo Nix really ready to step up? Because he's been pretty pedestrian. I mean, let's be honest. I know he had a really great game against the Panthers, but that team is just ready to give up already. And you knew that was coming, right? We both knew before the season started that that team was not going to find ways to win games at all. In fact, they may not win another game for the rest of the season. So it really looks like where they're at right now. What's the line in this game?
Ravens minus 9.5.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like there's a ton of ways where they could keep this game close, but I'm going to take the Ravens because I want to see what the Broncos look like when they're down 10 points, because I feel like that's a very conceivable situation. The Ravens scoring their first drive, 3 and out for the Broncos, and then they stop them to a field goal. It's like 10-0. What are the Broncos going to do at that point? I mean, let's see it. You know, prove it to me, and then I'll change my mind on it. So yeah, I like the Ravens minus 9.5 here.
I'm on the mile high train here, man. The Ravens are frauds. I've been saying this for so many years. I don't know what everyone's going to really recognize. Lamar is our MVP candidate for sure. He is Mr. Stats, okay? But he is the Black Mike Trout. That's who Lamar Jackson is. And if you can go into Cleveland last week and be an 8.5 point favorite and lose that game and lose at home in your own building to the Vegas Raiders, there is no reason why I should be laying 9.5 points here versus the Denver Broncos, who beat the Jets on the road, the same Jets team that took Houston apart Thursday night, and they beat Tampa Bay on the road as well. Those are 2 signature wins. Bo Nix has been better than advertised. I think Bo Nix is someone they didn't even want to take. They took him, And look what happened. I think the Broncos defense will play good enough here to cover 9.5 points. I just don't believe in the Ravens, man. I just don't. I don't know why I should believe in them. Give me a reason to believe in you. Every time we absolutely have to have you, you choke. Outside of beating up on Tampa Bay on Monday night, I haven't seen the Ravens really show up, and they never show up in the playoffs. I just don't see them. Not versus big spreads, man. They just don't cover these big spreads. I think Denver is better than people think they are. And they've got a Super Bowl winning head coach, and they've got a tough defense. I think they play well enough to cover 9.5. Until the Ravens show me that they can do this and do it in style, I'm going to continue to bet against them. Dude, how do you lose to the Cleveland Browns? I'm sorry. Give me those 9.5 points.
I think it kind of comes down to more of a divisional thing. And also is a very emotional game for the Browns, too, considering the whole quarterback situation. But we shall see. We shall see. Next up, we have the Dolphins. They're visiting the Bills. And, man, this does not seem good for the Dolphins. That game last week
The
against the
Dolphins are
Cardinals.
horrible, bro.
That's terrible. I
They're
mean, they had
terrible.
everything going for them. Not only like going into the game, but like in the game. Like they had that game so many different times where you're like, oh, there we go. The Dolphins are they're gonna find, this is what we think is gonna happen in this game. And
They're
man,
trash.
I think you mean you also have to give credit to the Cardinals, I suppose. I mean, they're such a hard team to evaluate, the
Hmm.
Cardinals. It's like
Hmm.
every time I start them, I'm like, yeah, this is what I expected to get out of them this season. And then they put up like the worst game you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah.
It's very inconsistent. Like sometimes you see that team that they can be, and sometimes it just disappears. But wow, they did show up, especially at the end of that game. It's just like you could write it in the newspaper that game. The Dolphins, two is back at home. They beat the Arizona Cardinals, ready to make that run. And then they fall flat on their face at the end of the game. And now they play the Bills. Gosh, it's like I want so badly to be on the Dolphins in this game because you can see what their offense can look like, but man, their defense is just not good. I think that's ultimately what this always comes down to, having a quarterback or no quarterback. That defense has played very poor
They're horrible.
all year long, and I don't see it getting any better. I just don't think they have a lot of talent from top to bottom. There's certainly a few positions that, flash out for them, but I feel like overall, when you look at, top to bottom, the depth chart, you're like, yeah, there's actually quite a bit of holes on this team and guys so they're
Hmm.
just kind of hoping step up and make plays. And of course they don't. So the Bills look really good.
Hmm.
I mean, no doubt about it. I know it's a division game, so it gets kind of funky, but the Bills are at home. It's probably going to be freezing over there, I'm guessing. It is starting to get in that time.
If it's cold
Tomorrow it's
here,
going to
it's
be
cold
like,
there.
yeah, it's like going to be like 50 degrees when the game kicks off, if not in the 40s. Anytime it's cold, you got to put your money on the other team than the Dolphins because they just don't play very well there. You would think after years and years of going to Buffalo that would change, but considering that the Dolphins offense looked about as what you would expect out of them, I suppose, last week, and they still couldn't get it done. Now you have the Bills, who offense looks like it's clicking on all cylinders. I mean, you got this. I loved Dalton Kincaid last year, and he's really starting to show it this year.
Hmm.
I mean, that guy's awesome. And I knew that coming out of college. He's one of my favorite prospects coming out of the draft. And you're seeing it now. It's just another like proof, basically, that being a good tight end in your rookie year is like almost impossible. I mean, there's always outliers, obviously, but just any normal given tight end, you have so many responsibilities, and it's going to take you a while to like get into the rhythm of it. He's just starting to flash a little bit here, and I think that continues. And I think that they're little. It's just the way that you do it when you have a star quarterback. You don't need a top 3 wide receiver. It's nice, obviously, and you can put up some really big stats. But what you're seeing here, the Keon Coleman is starting to really pick up the pace,
Hmm.
but just all of their other guys too. Like they just all seem to be making plays, and Josh Allen makes it for them. That's what one of the top quarterbacks in the league does. And considering how bad the Miami Dolphins defense has been playing, it's -6.5. Yeah, I really like Buffalo in this game. I would be seriously shocked if the Dolphins defense gets enough stops in this game to not make this a touchdown difference.
This is my best bet. I took the Bills last week in the 12th man, and they destroyed that team. And that's a tough place to play, flying 3,000 miles across the country. Guys, the Buffalo Bills are probably, in my mind, going to the AFC Championship if all things considered right now. I wanted it to be Houston. Houston's offensive line is absolute garbage. And I don't trust the Ravens, man. I don't trust the Ravens. And so I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen a lot. Look, it's very simple with Miami. Are they on the road, and is the sun going to be out? The answer to those questions is no, and so this is going to be a resounding Buffalo win. It's very simple, guys. This is my best bet. Dude, a touchdown wins you money here. Josh Allen can run. Josh Allen can throw. Josh Allen is not turning the ball over. Josh Allen is home. He is in his elements. Keon Coleman is stepping up. Dalton Kincaid is stepping up. Khalil Shakir is stepping up. Dude, it's addition by subtraction. They took the Chiefs model and it's working. The Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill. Well, we'll just get 3 scrub guys and we'll make it work. They got rid of Stephon Diggs. Oh, we'll just replace him with 3 guys. Curtis Samuel's not even doing anything yet. I mean, this is not going to be a close game. I do not trust Miami. They are fraudulent as well. Their head coach is fraudulent. Dude, you take Tyreek Hill off this team and they're going to do absolutely nothing. Van Ginkel is gone. Phillips is always hurt. Ramsey is a shell of himself. They are frauds. Period. If you guys can't see this, I don't know what to tell you. They had all the elements in their corner last week and lost the game at home. I mean, that's an egregious loss at home versus a 50-50 team like Arizona. You mean to tell me now they're going to head north and beat this Buffalo team? Buffalo's going to beat them to death tomorrow. This is my best bet. Do not be scared of that line, guys. Lay everything you have on this. The Buffalo Bills know that the Chiefs cannot continue to win this way, and they want that home field advantage again. They want that game in their building again. It would not surprise me to see the Bills only lose a handful of games the rest of the way, and this is not going to be one of them. Take the Bills with confidence. Let's roll.
All right, we now have divisional barn burner. Derek Carr is back for the 2-6 Saints. They go to Carolina.
God.
I don't think you couldn't pay me to go watch this game. I mean, this is going to be awful, but yeah, I'm sure the line. Let's take a look. I have it right
7.5.
Man,
Lay it.
That's
Lay
awful.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to,
You
right?
have to.
I mean, nothing you
have
can
to.
do.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, I can't find myself in any situation betting on the Panthers to cover. It's like you're begging them to be a certain level of not bad.
Not
I mean, what
bad.
kind of what kind of low? Sometimes in the early part of the NBA season, I'm making bets and I'm looking at these big lines and I'm like, yeah, man, the Pistons, dude, plus 18.5. You just don't need him to be that bad. And then
And then
if
they
you watch
lose
him
by
play,
40.
yeah, it's like, you know what? Why am I betting on a team to like not be as bad as I think they are? That's
They're
just a terrible place to
horrible.
be in.
Yeah, they're horrible.
This is obviously a game I would never put my real cold hard money on because it's so awful. But yeah, I mean, Derek Carr is back. That's going to be just enough juice. I mean, this is like a 24 to 13 game or something like that, something stupid. If they even score that much, I could even see 18-6. Derek Carr is going to probably be a little statue coming back from this injury like he always is, if not even worse. But it's certainly going to be just enough to Alvin Kamara has 24 carries for 107 yards and 3 catches for 50 with 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just almost like the game has already been played in my mind. You can just see all the stat lines. You'd be like, oh yeah, I guess I saw that touchdown on the red zone channel that one time. And that's the last thing that you remember about it. So there isn't even too much to say. The Panthers are abysmal. They'll be taking Cam Ward first overall. I can almost guarantee it at this point because they're not going to pick up another win. I should have seriously put every dollar to my name on the under win total for that ridiculous 5 wins for the Carolina Panthers.
I
I
told
mean,
you,
that was one
bro.
of the worst like set lines I think I've ever seen for a win total for a team.
They're
In
bad.
retrospect, I should have just put like, even like $100 on it or something. It's like a free investment on Robinhood, basically. You get some of your money back. But yeah, I mean, this is totally always on the Saints here, and they've obviously, are very eager to get things back on track, but their organization has run horribly. Derek Carr goes down, so you put Spencer Rattler as the starter for multiple games, mind you, and then Derek Carr comes back, and then you slide Spencer Rattler down to QB3. How does that make any sense? I mean, like, your organization is run so bizarrely, it's like that's so stupid. Like, how, like, what's the point of your depth chart then at that point? Like, Jake Kerner is a better backup quarterback than he is like someone who you'd start in a game. I mean, like, try to make sense of that to me, but it won't matter on this Sunday. It's going to matter a lot more for the Saints down the road when they play real competition.
The Saints are horrible. Guys, remember when the Saints were 2-0 and you guys were all telling me they were going to the Super Bowl?
Derek Carr was an MVP candidate, I was
Remember
told
that?
online.
Guys, sometimes you just have to wait it out and let reality take its course. The Saints are disgusting. I mean, we're talking about the Panthers at 1-7 as being bad. Guys, the Saints are 2-6. They're not better. They're just injured and just poorly run. My goodness, man, they are really bad. Everyone is hurt for the Saints. Let anything happen to Kamara, and the Panthers win this game. Okay, they're gonna run Alvin Kamara to the ground. Derek Carr, Chris Olave, guys, this should be enough to beat a struggling Panther team at home that shouldn't be trying to win. Okay, Jonathan Brooks is not gonna play. He's out. They trade Deontay Johnson. Xavier Legette is questionable. I mean, now you're relying on the likes of like Jalen Coker and Jonathan Mingo and Bryce Young. Bryce Young is horrible. I mean, Bryce Young literally is going to be an Arena League quarterback here soon. It's just a matter of time. I'm not going to waste too much more time on this. Spencer said most of it. Just take the Saints minus 7.5 simply because I'm not going to sit here looking for reasons why a bad team at home that's not trying to win so they can get a quarterback to cover the 7.5. It just doesn't make sense. And if I lose my money betting on the Saints, so be it. But I'm not going to bet on Carolina here. I just can't do it. There's no light shining in Carolina that lets me think that they have a freaking chance in hell of covering 7.5 versus a team like this with a decent defense getting their quarterback back. Next.
Yeah, if Derek Carr can't cover this, he needs to retire. This needs to be the last game of his career. Okay, let's. I hate that I have to watch this game in the morning, but the Raiders travel to Cincinnati. It's a 7-point spread here. Man, the Raiders are one of the hardest teams in the league to evaluate on like every conceivable level. Because if you just like look back at those games, there's like a handful of plays that change the course of the season. Bad fumble here, can't get a touchdown on the goal line there. It's like it's just those small details, and that's what they're truly missing out of their head coach. Coaches like Sean Payton and stuff, they find ways to win those games. When you put your team in position, it's not always pretty, but you just find a way to make that win happen. And when you're a bad coach, you find ways to make your team lose when you're in a winning position. And that's what Antonio Pierce has done all season long. Gardner Minshew played his best game as a Raider, I think, from start to finish last week, outside of the fumble, which pretty much ended the game. So he's, man, it's so frustrating watching him play because you can see the talent that he has, the game manager level talent, but like high end game manager talent that he possesses. When he plants his feet and he goes through his progressions, it's clean, man, and he can make some really nice throws. He just like has these horrible lapses of judgment that just absolutely kill the team. And now you go to Cincinnati versus another boneheaded team that finds ways to lose, not find ways to win. They find ways to lose. It's like they need the script to go perfectly in their favor in order to win the game. It's funny to think about both these teams. The last time they played was in the playoffs, and that was like kind of the height of both of those teams in that moment. In a way, the Raiders getting to a playoff and almost going to a Super Bowl. Cincinnati did win one game after that, I know, but like, generally speaking, those were the last times like both of those teams were serious at all. It's like they peaked in that moment, and it was really close. And now, like, since then, it's been horrible for both franchises. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. There's a world where the Raiders keep this within a touchdown, and there's a world where the Raiders get blown out by 50 points. I mean, the thing is, though, the Raiders have a top 10 defense in the league. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. They have all these injuries, and like, they still play damn good football. Like, the offense has kept this team down all year long. So many spots. I mean, it's just like crazy, like that some of these games that the Raiders play are close. Like, you would think, like, when you watch the offense play, that they would lose by 35 points a game. But the defense gets a turnover here, gets big stops here and there, just to prop up the offense. Like, can you do anything? Can you do anything at all? And they can't. And they can. Jacoby Myers has been back, and he's great, man. I think he's an underrated wide receiver one, especially if a good quarterback. Imagine Jacoby Myers on the Buffalo Bills or something like that. Like, the guy would be putting up some really great stats because the quarterback could elevate him even further than he is. But he's a damn good receiver. No doubt about it. Yeah. With that being said, oh, God, I guess I'll take the Bengals. This is not a game I feel confident about at all either way. In fact, I don't think either team knows how it's going to go tomorrow. It's like they're going to wake up in the morning and both teams are going to decide how they're going to play. And that's how it's going to go. It's like anything could happen, and both teams are like waiting themselves to figure out what that's going to be. But I guess I'll take the Bengals because they probably in their minds still feel like they can do something, and the Raiders know their season's over already.
This is last chance university for the Bengals here. This is it. And if they feel like they are going to make any noise this year, this is a must-win game. And I think they will win. The question is whether or not they'll cover the 7. I'm going to lay the 7. I'm not going to do it with a whole lot of confidence. I was at Chiefs Raiders last week, and I'm here to tell you guys, the Raiders stink. They're not good. Okay? And their quarterback play. The Raiders have the worst quarterback room in the NFL. Period. I don't want to hear anything about any of the Raiders quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew is absolutely a bum. He's horrible, man. He is absolutely horrible. I mean, I watched this team not score from inside the 3 with 4 tries. And their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, is horrible. This is a terribly run franchise, man. And they care about money. They don't care about winning. It's sad, man. I feel bad for you Raider fans to have that beautiful stadium and this shit team. It's terrible. The only bright spot you have is Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers. And Brock Bowers fell in your lap. You didn't really even want him. It's pathetic. Only thing that really concerns me about this game is that T. Higgins is out. T. Higgins is having a rough, contract year. I don't know if someone's going to really give him the money he's looking for. I think Yoshivas has been good enough to fill that role. Zach Moss is also doubtful to out. So the Bengals are going to have to play really crisp football with Chase, Burrow, and what's left of their running game to win this game. Chase Brown's going to have to be good. I'm going to lay it. I say that the Bengal defense makes enough plays to win this game because I could definitely see Gardner Minshew turning the ball over. I mean, the guy is a turnover machine. He's got 6 turnovers in the last 3 games. You can't win football games like this versus a desperate team who's just puffed their chest out and talked so much garbage that they know if they don't back it up here, the season's over. I have to lay the 7. I'll lay the 7, and if I get burned, I get burned. Cincinnati, but not with a lot of confidence here. Next.
We have the Chargers going to the Browns. Yeah, talk about a kind of an interesting situation that could transpire for the Cleveland Browns. Truly, like if Jameis Winston plays a good season for the rest of the year and they go like close to 500, I'm not saying
He's their
I'm
starting
not going to say
quarterback. He's their
for
starting
the
quarterback moving forward.
definitely for the rest of the year. But if he's like picks up wins here, and I'm not gonna say they're gonna creep up to 500, but I'm saying like, what if he starts picking up wins, like the Nick Chubb starts to get going, and he definitely got bailed out last week by like almost a terrible game-ending interception. I mean, like terrible, terrible, terrible. But still, I don't want that to undermine like some of the really good throws that he has. I feel like the Cleveland Browns are going to have a very difficult choice going into the draft, truly, because I do think Jameis Winston is a starter level quarterback, not a high end one, yeah, not top 10, but a high end one. So this week, let's see if he can continue that momentum. He does have a big challenge. I mean, the Chargers defense obviously is the only reason they have any wins at all on their schedule. Otherwise, they would be literally winless. Like they have like score what 10 points a game. I mean, how they have 4 wins is like a testament, I guess, to how good Harbaugh is at finding ways to win games. I've talked about how good coaches find ways no matter what to win games for their team, and you're seeing that with the Chargers this year. This is a interesting. Let's see, what was the spread in this game? I just had it pulled up. What is it?
1.5. The Browns are
Wow.
plus 1.5.
I'm going to take the Browns. I mean, I just don't. I think the Chargers stink, and I think we talked about it last week. And one of the easiest games to bet, last week was like if or I guess thinking back to the Cardinals game, if you can score 20 points, you won. You beat the Chargers. You almost don't even have it's like you can kind of ignore the other side of the ball. Just
Yep.
make that target 20 points, and the Chargers can't get there.
Yep. The goal
Ladd
every week
McConkey,
for the
yeah.
opposing team on their bulletin board was score 20. Score 20. Get 20. Score 20.
And yeah, it's like force the Chargers to go down and score points. Like
Yep.
they can't. They literally can't do it.
Yep.
And I feel like Jameis Winston can get them to that 20-point threshold. It won't be pretty. He'll throw a bad interception in there, I'm sure, somewhere, but he'll also get this team going. I mean, just because they lost a few weapons doesn't mean there's nothing left. And Joku is good. I like Elijah Moore. It's like they have a committee of guys. None of them stand out necessarily, but they get the job done, And you saw that last week against the Ravens. I mean, they just needed any quarterback, right? I'm not the biggest fan of Stefanski, but at the same time, like you saw, like when he was with Baker Mayfield, they can score points behind the guy. He's not like the worst offensive-minded coach in NFL history. He just needed someone to throw the ball, right? Deshaun Watson was historically bad at playing quarterback, and there is no. And Deshaun Watson, I'm sure, wanted to push this narrative like, oh, it's the team. They've done nothing around me. It's like, no, bro, you stink. Like, you're terrible. And Jameis Winston is obviously a very experienced quarterback. He looked very comfortable back there last week and made multiple clutch drives. And I feel like that can combine together to get this team to like probably win this game. And obviously the line indicates how close it's going to be. I'm going to lean towards the Cleveland Browns because I do not think the Chargers are a good football team at all. They have squeaked by those 4 wins. And you're seeing every week, every passing week, this team start to fall apart.
Chargers are fool gold. They're fool's gold, man. They're a product of a soft schedule and a good defense. I mean, I like Ladd McConkey on that team. That's about it. Him and Justin Herbert. I like them. And I like Coach Harbaugh, but they're smoke and mirrors. Don't be fooled. If the Browns can beat the Ravens in their building, they can beat the Chargers in their building. It's really just that simple. I'll take those 1.5 points as well. Home dogs pay dividends. I like Jameis Winston. I always have. I like his personality. It lends to like galvanizing teams. The guy's not scared to throw the ball, and now the weapons that they have are there. You're seeing it. Cedric Tillman, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, and now they're really slowly easing Chubb back in each week. Stefanski's giving him more, and Myles Garrett and the defense are more than serviceable. I will take those 1.5 points versus a bad Charger team who I have not believed in at any point this season. All Cleveland has to do is get to 20 to 23 points, and they'll win this game going away. The dog pound is a real thing. You saw them take down, in my mind, one of the top 3 best AFC teams, and it was not hard for them to do. It really wasn't. Okay? And so you're telling me that a gimpy Justin Herbert with J.K. Dobbins, who is an injury waiting to happen, and really nobody but Lad McConkey is going to win this game on the road? Stop. Browns plus 1.5 is the play.
All right, we have Washington. They are going to New York to play the Giants in a divisional matchup. Oh boy. The Giants are terrible. I mean, it's really so much on Daniel Jones. You know, it just reminds me so much of the Raiders. There's a lot of parallels between these two teams. Not coached exorbitantly well, but most of it, like most of the season, comes down to horrible quarterback play. I mean, Derek Jones single-handedly loses them games by himself, outside of the influence of anything else in the game. Just make horrible, horrible plays. And then you see it every once in a while. They make good throws, but it's just not consistent enough. You know, it's just like being a turnover machine is so deadly to your team. It's one of the worst things you can do, obviously, for so many reasons. This is I think it's a fairly short line. Yeah, -4. I mean, how can you bet on the Giants at all? And I don't think, yeah, obviously Jaden Daniels is fine now. I mean, I know divisional games are strange. And the Giants are actually out a kicker right now, too. Their kicker got ruled out for this game. And when you have those weird 4-point lines, you know, like that kind of stuff can matter. I missed field goal here. I missed extra point, and suddenly the numbers get a little funky. Any of those things could happen, you know, and maybe they start going for it more on 4th down because they have a backup kicker. You know, all these things kind of come into play when your kicker's out. It's more important than you might think. Besides the fact that Washington is a much better football team than the Giants, which is obviously mirrored when it comes to their win-loss record. And then Washington, yes, they squeaked by in every conceivable way, squeaked by against Chicago last week. That was kind of crazy. But it's not like they're playing the Bears defense. And the Bears defense is the only reason that team ever is in any games, obviously, because their offense stinks. I mean, Caleb Williams stinks. He stinks, man. At least right now he does. I feel like we can comfortably say that now, right? Like, come on. We have to stop this whole. He has a lot to prove. That's for sure. I think we can all say that now. Once we're this far, 8 games into the season, it's like, yeah, this kid's like got a lot to prove. Because if they didn't have the defense to the level that they did, anyways, we'll get to the Bears. I like Washington -4. They're a better football team. Like I said, at this point in the season, I'm not betting on bad. I'm not betting on bad football teams. I'm not being like, I need the Giants just to be not bad enough today to cover 4 points. That's a horrible mentality to have when your season's over, right? Like it's always so hard in the beginning of the season because every team feels like they have something to play for, right? Going into training camp, I'm sure all these guys are able to convince themselves that they can like make a run on some level, right? Because technically it's statistically possible. And now for the Giants, it's not like that. Daniel Jones won't be the quarterback for them next week. And now suddenly these guys are like, man, this guy stinks. He's not even going to be on our team next year. And now we're supposed to rally behind him at 2-6. That's a hard thing to ask for, especially for a head coach that probably won't be there next year. And Brian Dable, I doubt it, at least. I feel like they're going to get a new quarterback and go for a new head coach combination, you know, especially because he's associated with the team with a guy like they brought him in. It's his guy. Like all those things like are going against Dable here, obviously, besides the really bad record. So I like Washington in this game for sure.
Yeah, I like Washington too. And I'm not worried about the -4. Washington and Dan Quinn have had a resurgence, a really good year. Dan Quinn's he's going to be coach of the year. Jaden Daniels is the real deal, man. Jaden Daniels is better than Caleb. I don't care what anyone says. This is kind of concerning for me, Caleb Williams, but we'll talk about him shortly. I know they stole one last week, but the bottom line is we play to win the game. And that's what happened. They won the game because they did everything they could to
How about
get
the arm just to get it down to the goal line, by the
Jaden
way? Bombed it 60
Daniels is
yards.
going to go crazy in this game, man. The Giants are horrendous. The defense is horrendous. Daniel Jones is horrendous. Brian Daboll's getting fired. The only bright spot on the entire team is Malik Neighbors, and you can't really get him the ball. I mean, unless the game is out of reach and they're forced to throw, the Giants' just air raid attack is horrible. Horrible. I like Tyrone Tracy, but he's coming off a concussion. Devin Singletary is no one to me. The Giants are just bad, man. It's just, guys, it's just bad football. It's really just bad football. They've got 2 wins. I don't think they've had like a ball thrown in the end zone for a touchdown at home since Obama was in office. I mean, no, I'm serious. It's some crazy stat like that. It's been like 2 or 3 years since they've thrown a touchdown at the Meadowlands. I mean, it's so pathetic. And I feel bad for Big Blue and their fans because they're such a loyal fan base. I mean, being from New York, I grew up a Giant fan. Watching my dad, like these fans want to win. They will show up no matter what, whatever kind of inclement weather there is. There will be a sea of blue out there, but they don't deserve what's happening right now, and it's because they signed Daniel Jones to a $160 million contract, and then they nickel and dime Saquon. You made your bed, now you got to lie in it. So I think that Washington will cover the 4. I think they will cover it with ease, and I think that Jaden Daniels has a career day.
I'm going to make that my best bet, actually. I mean, I know it seems like a trap game because of the line. It's like, why wouldn't Washington be touchdown favorites at least? But I'll take the bait. I really do feel like this missing kicker is going to like be the reason that I win that game.
It could be. Special teams matter.
Big time.
Big time.
We'll have to see. Also, besides the fact that Washington could just blow them outright. So that's also a factor. Let's jump over to the Patriots. They go to the Titans. I think that, well, obviously he had hurt his head last week, but I think he's in this game still. I'm talking
Drake May.
Yeah, is he back for this game?
I think he's a game time decision. I haven't seen too much about him passing the concussion protocol. I think he could play. I don't think it really matters, but I'll let you pontificate about it first.
Wow, that's tough. Both of these teams have a laundry list of injuries. I mean, some of them are huge, especially on the Titans side. Looking up at the top, Tajay Spears is out. L'Jarius Sneed is out. T'Vondre Sweat is out. Tony Pollard, questionable. Tyler Boyd, questionable. That is nuts. And obviously Will Levis, who knows what his status is going to be. But they're it's hard to say they're better off with Mason Rudolph. Both of those guys stink. Whew, this is a horrible football game. As a Raiders fan, I'm going to be clamoring to the seat for a Tennessee Titans win. I mean, I'm just going to be like white knuckled watching this game. I this has so many implications at the top of the draft. Like we'll look back at the end of the season at this game as the reason why things shaked up the way they did, because neither of these teams are getting a lot of wins for the rest of the year, if at all, between the two of them. So like such a Raiders thing for them to be 2-6 and to be outside of the top 5. How sick is that, man? It makes me want to puke, but I know there's a lot of season left, but that's just my luck, man. The Raiders have nothing going for them. But if the Titans win this game, man, the Raiders slide closer and closer to getting a quarterback, because Tennessee obviously is going to draft somebody. They're not going into next year with Will Levis. I mean, I think the fans would have a riot outside of the stadium. I guess it doesn't matter who's in for quarterback, because obviously Jacoby Brissett can, manage a game himself. I like the Patriots in this one. I think the absence of someone like L'Jarius Sneed and obviously all these other injuries they have on the offensive side of the ball leans in their favor. The fact that the Tennessee Titans are 3.5-point favorites is kind of insane to me, because this should almost be a pick 'em if we're being honest here. I know the Patriots have a kind of a list of injuries, but they look like they look like a football team every once in a while. I know it's a funny way of saying that, but yeah, they have a lot of injuries, but it's not guys that jump off the page necessarily, like with the Tennessee Titans. I know it's in Tennessee, but that doesn't matter for anything. I mean, the Titans have been playing absolutely awful garbage football all season long. I mean, way worse than they should be on every conceivable level. So I actually really like the Patriots in this game. In fact, I don't have it on my best bet ticket, but I'm probably going to make another teaser. And Or maybe I actually did, to be honest. I don't remember who I put on there. But in any case, I'm pretty sure I did. I really like this plus 3.5. It's very bizarre to me that so many people are putting their money on the Tennessee Titans. I feel like it should get bet to like the field goal for the Patriots. That hook is like so enticing in this game.
I'm taking the Pats. I can't, in any conceivable thought process, come up with a reason why I should take the Tennessee Titans here. They've been bad all year long. The Will Levis experiment has failed absolutely miserably. Mason Rudolph is an absolute bum. Tony Pollard is questionable. Tajay Spears is questionable. L'Jarius Sneed has been hurt. They've been so bad, man. I mean, so bad. And I told you last week about the Pats at home versus the Jets. I told you, man. The Patriots play tough. They play tough, hard-nosed football. You know what I mean? After getting called out as being soft by Mayo, they have come to play, man. And I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised when the Pats win this game outright as well. Don't be shocked, folks. Okay? They know how to play hard-nosed football. They're not crafty and finesse, but they will line up and punch you in the mouth, which you do that to Tennessee, they fall over like a house of cards. There's no home field advantage in Tennessee. Who are the Titans? Titans have been hot. Titans have been the most disappointing NFL team to date this year. They've been horrendous. I can't do it. Last week in the fourth quarter in the game-winning drive, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 10, all converted by the Patriots. Which I mean that hasn't happened since Tom Brady was there. They are galvanized and feeling good, and this is a game that they can win, man. You know what? If you're feeling frisky, Patriots money line. Forget the points. Patriots money line, because that's going to really pay, and I think this is a game that they can win. Tennessee does nothing for me at all, man. And seriously, if Will Levis can play, they should play him, and they should just be like, look, this is your audition to be our quarterback next year. If you can't beat the Patriots at home in Tennessee, you're gone. I mean, I have him on a couple fantasy teams. I've already sent the letter over. This is it. You will be off my team if you cannot win this game, Will Levis. That's it. And I was so high on him this year.
I
He
was too.
is an absolute bum. You're a bum. Get him out of here.
I think they're already
Pats
done.
plus 3. Next, let's go.
I'm gonna be the biggest Tennessee Titan fan of all time tomorrow, though. I need that Tennessee Titans win so bad. I got to get one step closer to shitter standards. All right, let's jump over to the afternoon slate. We have the Chicago Bears visiting Arizona. How can you bet on the Bears? I mean, their offense is so bad. It's Caleb Williams. I mean, they're not short of weapons. They have a good running back too, by the way, who they're letting him seek a trade. They should be depending on the run game 1,000 times more than they are now because the guy's good. Man, if the Raiders have any sort of brains like at all, they'll send that 7th round, 6th round pick for Khalil Herbert. They'll do it. They should have done it already. Because the Raiders desperately need a good running back on the team, and this guy could fill in immediately because they're drafting a quarterback in the first round. Anyways, the Cardinals 4-4. They find ways to win games, man, at the end when they're not getting their doors blown off, obviously. This is going to be a tough matchup for them because the Bears have like a top 3 defense in the NFL. I mean, at this point, it's like almost hard to argue there. The Cardinals just have to win by a field goal, and that seems to be the Cardinals' magical number, obviously. Winning by a field goal. I have to take it. I can't bet on the Bears. You know, it's not a game I feel overly confident about, but my goodness, what a terrible performance this team puts on the field every week. They win by default when their defense makes special plays for them. And I feel like Kyler Murray can do just enough in this game. I need to see Caleb Williams have a good game against not the Jacksonville Jaguars in London.
He's had one good game.
And you have an Arizona Cardinals team that just can put some points up on the board and make some clutch drives here and there. I'm not saying it's going to be a big blowout. I don't think the Cardinals are good enough to do that against the Bears defense, but if I'm basically picking either team to win the game, give me the Arizona Cardinals because Caleb Williams is good for like nothing. The guy has like 30 yards at halftime. It's like embarrassingly bad. I know Chicago Bears fans are sweating. I know they are. They have to
They
be,
have
and
to
they
be.
should be because you're seeing Jaden Daniels be very successful. You've seen it. And you and I are right. Okay. Eberflus is not going to last next season.
He's
I
gone.
don't care what happens. He's gone,
He's
man.
gone.
He's gone.
He
So
is gone,
I just
dude.
don't like Caleb Williams this year at
Yeah,
all.
my sentiments exactly, bro. I mean, the defense has saved this team all year. I've seen Caleb Williams have one really good game, and it was the game where it was overseas, where I think it was versus the Jags, where he threw like 3 or 4 touchdowns. He looked really, really good that game. As soon as he hit U.S. soil again, I mean, he's been very. I'm not saying he's been bad, but he's been very mid. He's been very mid, very mid. And I think the defense continues to bail them out. And I think last week was a horrendous loss. A horrendous loss. Horrendous special teams gaffe. The guy who was, chirping with the fans, that guy should be off the team. I mean, that's terrible. I mean,
Unbelievable.
you should have to stand up in front of the whole franchise and issue an
Pre-game. He
apology
should make a
pre-game
pre-game speech.
to the entire franchise, and then it should be viewed and sent out to all the fans. Because literally, one game in the National Football League is the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. Horrendous loss. I don't think they've been good, man. I think the Keenan Allen experiment is garbage. He's been nothing. I think Roma Dunze, while being good, people think he is better than he is. Roma Dunze has done nothing this year.
Hey, man, I was on
He's
that
done
early.
nothing.
I
He's
was
had
on that
one good
early.
game this year. I gotta read you this just for let's. I can't even believe this trade happened. Okay, this guy in my dynasty league traded for Roma Dunze. He got Ray
Oh, no.
Davis. He gave up Ray Davis, Russell Wilson, DeAndre Hopkins, a 2025 second, a 2026 third, and $15 in fab just for one player.
That's fun, man. I got to do a dynasty league with
I
you. That
mean,
sounds really fun.
that's incredibly ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's not Randy Moss. And as far as their run game, I mean, like, they don't lean on it enough. I mean, they don't give Swift what they. Why'd you bring Swift in here? Why'd you bring him in here? If you're not gonna just overload the guy and give him everything you can give him, because you know Caleb is gonna just not go get it. I don't know. I don't like the Bears this year. I don't. I want to be high on them. I don't like the Bears at all this year. I like the Cards here at home, coming off a huge win in Miami, stealing the win at the end. Now they're back home in State Farm Stadium. I've been to that stadium to see the Chiefs play a couple times. The fans show up. They actually believe in the Cardinals, which is hard to believe, but the fans are there. They're galvanized. MHJ is going to be still looking to make a statement, which I don't think he's made all year to this point. It's time for him to have a big blow-up game. I don't know if he's going to have it versus this defense, but, I mean, a field goal wins you points. Let Connor grind it out. Where is Trey McBride? Get these guys more involved, Kyler Murray. Let's go. This is a win that should definitely be stamped because a field goal wins you money versus a team that cannot score. Take the Cardinals with confidence, -2.
We have the Jacksonville Jaguars going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I mean, the Jaguars stink, man. I mean, I don't like them at all. They're not a very good football team. And yeah, it's 7.5. It seems like a lot, but it does feel like the Eagles are catching their stride a bit here. You know, a big win last week against the Bengals. We're talking about 2 big blowout wins in a row. I mean, it looks like they're, starting to put up close to 30 points a game. And does anything that the Jacksonville Jaguars do make you think that their defense is suddenly going to, blow it up and stop this team in their tracks who's like liquid hot right now? They've been giving up in their losses, they're giving up over 30 points a game. Now, I know their offense has looked quite a bit better. I mean, last week, obviously, against Green Bay, they put up a lot of points. And that was one of their best offensive performances of the year. But I'm not buying. I mean, Christian Kirk is out for the season, so that pretty much I think seals their fate for sure about like even putting in some of these close games. They hadn't gone to him too much necessarily this year, but certainly Christian Kirk was picking up a bit of momentum going into it. So uh yeah. I just don't think they're gonna be able to get enough stops in this game to keep it close. If you feel so nervous about it, buy the extra point, the half point, or if you really think it's going to be a touchdown, you can buy a full point. Either way, I mean, I guess that's probably the way I would go about it if I was betting on this game. Just make yourself feel a little bit better if you get the push. You do. But I don't see a world where the Jacksonville Jaguars keep this within a field goal. That would be very shocking to me. So I like the Eagles here. I feel like they're going to continue their little hot streak.
Told you guys about Jacksonville last week when the same thing was said about Green Bay punishing them and they covered. I'm going to take the Jags plus 7.5 here versus the Eagles. The Eagles, to me, have had one game this year where it was a convincing win. It was last week. Will they come home and will they continue that dominance? I don't know. But 7.5 is a worrisome line for me versus a desperate, injured team. This is what I know, man. A hurt fighter is a dangerous fighter. Now I know that they have so many injuries in Jacksonville, but I just don't think that Eagles secondary is very good. I just don't. And the strength of the Jags here is going to be to have to throw the ball to stay in the game because the Eagles are going to score. This is the fact. I think the Eagles win this game by 7. I do, man. I think this is who the Jags are going to be all year. They're going to be the backdoor cover king darlings. They're going to be last year's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going to be our valuable soldiers where, like, yes, they're horrible, but they cover spreads. And that's what I need you to do here. I don't care if they win or lose a game. I'm not a Jags fan. I care about winning money. And I have a funny feeling that everyone is going to have this same thought process about how the Philadelphia Eagles are going to steamroll this team. I don't think so, man. I don't think so. They've got a Super Bowl winning head coach. Trevor Lawrence is not horrendous. He's been playing a little bit better. The guys are hurt, man. You know what I mean? Christian Kirk is out. Now you're looking at Parker Washington, injured Brian Thomas. You know what the best bet in this game is, guys? Take all of Evan Ingram's overs. Guys, whatever his overs are, anytime TD, dude, he is going to catch 1,000,000 balls tomorrow. I am telling you right now. Screenshot this, record it. You will not be let down by Evan Ingram tomorrow because that secondary is not good in Philadelphia. They are just a bunch of names and rookies. Bradbury and Slay are overrated, and they have a rookie set out there. Take the Jags, not with a lot of confidence. I'm taking them on a whim, but I took them on a win last week, and they hit for me. So why not double down here? They're not as bad as people think. They're just hurt.
All right, we have the Detroit Lions visiting the Green Bay Packers. It's a big game, obviously. Okay, one of the biggest games of the season so far. And the big but is the health of Jordan Love. So it's really, really hard to call this game.
He's gonna play. I just saw it come over.
He will play, but a groin injury is rough. He's one bad play away from not playing in this game in the first quarter.
Exactly.
A fully healthy Jordan Love in Green Bay, I don't know. It's like you still have to see it with the Lions. I mean, I know they had that big win last week, but that's against one of the worst teams in the league. They're very galvanized. It was their first game at home without Aiden Hutchinson. Like, you knew that team was going to be about as fired up as humanly possible. And now they're like playing real competition again. But there's a big caveat, you know what I mean, with Jordan Love there. So it's like hard for me to assess this one. But I'm going to take the side because Jordan Love, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm not going to say there's a good chance he just doesn't finish this game, but man, there's like a higher than normal.
He's one hit away from being on IR.
And he takes he scrambles, you know what I mean, and like
comes
he
up
runs
lame.
weird, he slides weird,
hit on the way going out of bounds. So many different variables. Yeah, I mean,
it's a super short line. I have to take the field goal with the Detroit Lions. I mean, I know Green Bay is so good at home, but I'm not going to I can't take Green Bay with confidence here. I'm not going to bet money on this game because of the variable. So if I do have to take one, I'm taking the Lions because they should, obviously outright win this game as favorites. But Yeah, I don't feel confident that Jordan Love is super duper healthy. I feel like he's just kind of gimping out there.
I'm taking the Lions with confidence here, and I'm taking the under with confidence. It's going to be raining. The weather's inclement. The Lions run the ball better than anybody in the NFL right now, man. They can win the game on the ground. I'm not so sure that Green Bay can do that. Gimpy, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs has been up, he's been down. I mean, all of a sudden you got wet balls. Who are you throwing to? I mean, to me, this is a resounding Lions W. The Lions are just methodically going about their business, and they're on their way to going to a Super Bowl. I will stand on this, man, when nobody else will. They are going to be the type of team that learned from last year. You're seeing it. There's not a lot of craziness coming from Dan Campbell. They are running the ball at will. They are mixing it. Even with JMO out, it doesn't matter. You just mix in Laporta, you mix in the Sun God, you mix in Laporta, you mix in Gibby. Dude, this is a solid football team. Yes, Aiden Hutchinson is out, and that's concerning for sure. It is, but they can do enough to win these games, and a field goal wins you money here, man. Field goal wins you money. Now, golf outdoors concerns me for sure, but Jordan Love is injured, man. That is such a huge caveat. I mean, it's the X factor of the game. If Malik Willis has to come in and win this game, Detroit's winning this game going away by 7 to 10 points. I'm telling you, because they can score. They can score. And Jair Alexander versus Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be must-see TV. This is one of the best games of the week. I'm taking the Lions with confidence minus the 2.5. If it was 3, I might lean Packers.
Let's jump into a really good divisional matchup. Always one of the best, man. These two teams play very entertaining football games when they face each other. The Rams and Seahawks. Man, the Seahawks are another one of those teams that's really hard to assess. I mean, we were on it last week when it came to the Bills and Seahawks.
Bills
It's like
destroyed them.
the writing was on the wall.
They destroyed them.
And the Seahawks have had terrible losses like that Giants game. I'm still not over that. And they also put up good performances every once in a while. The Rams do seem to have all the momentum going into this game. I mean, seriously, like all the momentum. You don't know what kind of Seahawks team you're going to get out of it, but obviously, when the Rams offense is healthy, it's hard to stop them. You have one of the best offensive minds in football, like a top 3 offensive mind in football, with all of his little weapons. I know Puka Nacua got hurt in practice this week, but it didn't seem
he's going to play.
Yeah, he seems like okay. It wasn't, obviously everyone's just like holding their breath anytime he goes down, basically. But when he's playing, he looks unstoppable. I mean, literally looks unstoppable. It's crazy. It's really unbelievable. He's helping revive my football fantasy season because he's that good. I mean, even last week, like. He's so good that like it's like, oh, he's coming off of IR, but it's like, dude, if you see him on the active roster, you have to play him because it's just like they're gonna find a way to get him the ball. So, I mean, when I think about how I know Seattle's offense can score points too, I feel like the over is probably the winner in this game. It's over 48.5, although it could be very rainy, so another kind of sticky situation there. But I'll take the Rams, not with an insane amount of confidence. Like I said, these two teams always play these like really crazy divisional games, but I just feel like the Rams are trending in the right direction and they have this kind of personal belief in themselves. Like they're 3-4, they go to 500 here. Oh, we have everyone back. Cooper Kupp is off the trading table, right? It's like outwardly said. That tells you how much confidence they have. Kyron Williams is really, really good. Their running game is like actually underrated. And they couldn't. When talking about like run defense, the Seattle Seahawks couldn't stop nothing on the ground last week. Absolutely nothing.
Or through the air.
Yeah. So
they couldn't do anything. That was their worst game last week.
They were Swiss cheese. So these teams are trending in very opposite directions. And I need to take the team with the upward trend. So I'll take the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams minus 1.52. Cooper Kupp's off the table. Nacua will play. He's banged up, but he will play. I love Kyron Williams. He's the most underrated running back in the whole National Football League. Dude, the guy is like 5'5". I mean, like Super Bowl winning head coach. Stafford upright is very, very good. Super Bowl winning quarterback, better than average defense, young, hungry. They have done a very nice job replacing Aaron Donald. Very nice job. I don't believe in the Seahawks minus DK Metcalf. They got torched last week. The game was never ever in question. Tariq Woolen, Devin Witherspoon, they got absolutely embarrassed. And this week, to me, they're going up against better wideouts. I don't know, man. I love the Rams minus 1.5 here, and I shouldn't because the 12th man losing back to back games and one in division, you wouldn't think it, but it just goes to show you how involved DK Metcalf really is. And this team right now, I feel like they're just trying to get to their bye. They're just trying to get to their bye. We'll get healthy and then we'll come back week 11. Meanwhile, the Rams actually think they got a shot at this. The two teams going in different directions, and 1.5 ain't a lot. I think the Rams win this game going away, honestly. I'm not a big Geno Smith guy either. I never have been. And Tyler Lockett's about to retire, and JSN, he benefited off Metcalf on the other side. No offense, you ain't going to see him for another year. I mean, they're banged up bad in Seattle. If their defense doesn't show up, they're going to get blown out in this game. Take the Rams with confidence, minus the 1.5.
We have on Sunday Night Football the Colts going to Minnesota. Well, obviously the big storyline in this game is Anthony Richardson.
He sucks.
Yeah. Kind of weird, right? You don't ever see
he's been benched. Joe Flacco is the Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback for the rest of the season is Joe Flacco. Write it down.
Yeah, they've pretty much come out and said that this is not like a punishment benching. It's a permanent situation.
Done. He's done. He'll be on the Raiders next year.
The Colts have the worst injury. I don't know. The Colts just have the worst quarterback management in NFL history. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Obviously, the real reason he's getting benched is his comments about being tired. That's all it comes down to.
Dude, literally, I'm tired. I'm tired right now, and I'm up doing this show, and we ain't getting paid for this, and then I'm turning around and going to work.
Yeah, and how about all of the guys who are out there we play with them? It's like
you make energy for the things that matter for you. I'm tired. You're tired. I've never seen I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback tap out. And he got roasted. He got flamed. This guy can't live this down. You'll never live this down. I don't care. Dude, what? I'm tired? Dude, you're cashing $1 trillion checks. At least fake an injury. fake a hammy. To say I'm tired.
Yeah, dude, no one knows but you, at that point.
Yeah. That guy should be run out of Indianapolis. Well, and watch, Joe Flacco's going to play well. He's going to play well for them.
I think if the Raiders had any guts, they'd trade for Anthony Richardson at the trade deadline, to be completely honest with you.
That's what I'm doing. He'll be a Raider. Wouldn't shock me at all.
I mean, seriously, if they're like really willing, and this is probably the least amount of value he'll ever have, because the feelings are so like fresh, the wound, whatever you want to call it.
You can get him for a pepperoni pizza right now.
Yeah, I really think so. Because they put themselves truthfully in a very bad situation, because now obviously they do want to trade him, right? If they've come out and said, which they already have, he's benched for the rest of the season, they're saying we're done with him.
We're done.
I think that was a dumb move by them, to be honest with you. The trade deadline coming up, maybe say it afterwards. Maybe you keep starting Joe Flacco. It's like they could easily convince the league that, like, hey, this is a benching to make a statement from our franchise, right? Like, he says he's tired, so we'll bench him. It's like then the NFL GM's kind of like, is it permanent? Is it not? Because at that point, it's not guaranteed. In fact, no one knew at the time when it said Joe Flacco is starting. We all kind of thought that, hey, maybe this is just a way to like, hey, wake up, dude. You're the franchise quarterback. Wake the hell up. So I feel like they jumped the gun a little bit. So it's like, if you're an NFL GM like the Raiders, you're outside of the top 5 at 2 and the 6. In my opinion, it's only Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders coming out next year with a bunch of other bums that are going to get overdrafted. those are the only two real valuable quarterbacks here. So I feel like you can squeeze something out, man, if you're the Raiders. But now, dude, if you're the Raiders and you're Tom Telesco, like, hey, man, I got a nice 5th-round pick for you. Are you interested in giving us Anthony Richardson? If you're done with them, at this point, and maybe they'd be inclined to take it. But when it comes to Sunday Night Football, kind of hard to tell. They do play better under Joe Flacco. They look like a half decent team, but you get TJ Hockenson back if you're the Rams, and I think the Vikings really want this one. You have that terrible face mask last week. They're a little pissed off over the events of what went down. So when I think about it like that, it's like, man, I know the Colts look really decent with Joe Flacco, and they look like a real competent football team, and it's 5.5. It's kind of a big spread. I just think that Minnesota at home is going to go a little bananas here. I feel like they're going to want revenge for last week, and the Colts are a little bit in turmoil right now. I know the guys probably feel confident in Joe Flacco, but this is not a good place to be in when you're doing this like little you're doing this little like volleyball back and forth at the quarterback position. Like at some point it's going to get caught up with you. So I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings at home, especially because they're at home. That's the thing that really ties it together for me.
Vikes minus 5.5 is the play. This is the game where Jay Jettis goes and leaves his body. Okay, this is Jay Jettis to the moon tomorrow. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because TJ Hockenson is back. You now have to roll coverage to TJ Hockenson, who literally was one of the best tight ends in the league before he got hurt. Don't forget about how good TJ Hockenson was, man. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a resounding win for Minnesota. Brian Flores has done an amazing job with that defense under the lights at home after getting jobbed last week. They should destroy this Colts team. Joe Flacco is like 41, man. I mean, yes, he'll be better than Anthony Richardson, but can you really rely on him to win this game on the road? I mean, come on. We have also seen the same Joe Flacco throw back-to-back picks on back-to-back drives in the playoffs last year. I mean, Jonathan Taylor can't save you here because you can't run against Minnesota. I know the line sounds like a lot, but you guys, you can't be scared of these big lines in the NFL versus bad teams on the road. I'm going to take the Purple People Eaters here. I'm taking them with confidence. I could also see a defensive score here, fumble recovery, scoop and score. The Colts should be tanking. They're a bad team. Now, what worries me a little bit is that their skill players, Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, they're better with Flacco because Flacco can get you the ball. So it could be close for a while, but I'm not really buying it. Defend the end zone. Watch out for Alec Pierce. They should win this game. And I think Hockenson scores in his return. Let Hockenson score, and that crowd's going to be really, really into it. And then Brian Flores sets the dogs loose. Minus 5.5 ain't enough. They'll win this game by 7 to 10 points.
We have the Monday Night Football game. It's the Buccaneers. They go to Kansas City, and just unfortunate, I guess, more than anything, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when it comes to the injury list here. Bucky Irving is questionable. Their injury list is just starting to grow big time for the Tampa Bay Bucs, man. Simple. I mean, hey, you have to give a little bit of credit to their offense for still finding ways to put some points on the board last week. My goodness. I just don't think that happens against the best defense in the NFL. And the line is like too short. It's like almost weird. But Kansas City hasn't been playing good football, man. 9.5 is such a huge line. It's huge, man. For a team that hasn't played well still at any point in this season. I mean, they won by default for last week against the Raiders because Gardner Minshew is a dunce head. And that's the only reason. He just stinks so bad. And I think the Raiders still covered last week. Oh, God. I'm going to take the plus 9.5. I do think that's too much, man. I mean, what have the Chiefs done? They could barely beat the Raiders last week, and they tried to give up that game. And the Bucs are way more competent of a football team than the Raiders. I mean, in every way. I really need to see the Chiefs do something because every week they look almost worse and worse. I know Travis Kelce is getting it going a little bit, but I'm going to chalk that down to the Raiders being incompetent more than I am the Chiefs suddenly figuring it out. And I know DeAndre Hopkins is there, and it's it's going to get better and better every week, but it still looks like the Buccaneers find ways to score points. And I just see a world where it's just like a 7-point victory for the Chiefs, garbage time score here or there. It's just like the Chiefs don't look 10 points better than anyone in the NFL right now when they play. They're playing down to their competition big time.
Every single week. And this is one of my favorite bets. I can't conceivably, even as an NFL fan first, but being a Chief fan, take the Chiefs minus 9.5 versus anyone. I mean, if you couldn't cover 9.5 versus the horrendous Raiders, which, I mean, I know it was a garbage time score they gave up, but still, like, that loses you money. Like, I can't do it here versus the Bucks on Monday Night Football. Here's the deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. They don't care about any of that stuff. The Chiefs care about one thing and one thing only, man, and it's in sequential order, and it's winning. Win the AFC West. That's it. Home field advantage. That's it. Win the Super Bowl. That's what they care about. And to see what they have done, minus both their starting wide receivers and their starting running back to be undefeated, it's incredible. It's a testament to good coaching, a solid GM, and great front office. And it's an unbelievable story, man, to see what this team has done. And with all the Chiefs fatigue that is there and the amount of hate that they get, guys, you just have to witness greatness. Now, does that translate to winning money? It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm taking the Bucks here with confidence, honestly, because the Chiefs haven't covered really versus anyone. They haven't blown anybody out. And they'll win this game by 8. They'll win on a defensive scoop and score at home. The crowd goes crazy. Or Harrison Butker field goal to win it. They'll win. Chiefs money line's not paying anything. You know what I mean? Like, you want to win money, you take the Bucks plus the 9.5. Dude, Baker Mayfield is piss and vinegar. There is no more confident player in the NFL than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield could go out there with nobody and still think he's going to win. Chiefs stop the run, but they don't stop the pass. I don't care who he's got out there. Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard. He is going to throw the ball and try to win this game. And those running backs out of the backfield will be doing the same thing. They'll be doing the same thing. Chiefs will win this game. They will stop the run, but they will not cover the spread. And I'm going to take the Bucks, and I'm going to take them with confidence. 9.5 is a very big number, man. And you know what? It's a win-win for me because I'm waiting for the Chiefs to blow someone out. I'm waiting for an easy win. I know they've beat some teams by 10. I need to see the Chiefs beat somebody by 3 scores. You know how long that's been? Seriously. You know how much more gray hair I've had since that's happened? I mean, that's like the Obama administration. It's been so long since they murdered somebody. Well, go murder somebody. But I'm still taking the Bucks plus 9.5. It's a win-win for me. But if you're really wanting to win some money on Monday Night Football, guys, I can't see a world where the Chiefs cover 9.5. I know Tampa's defense is bad. Yes, it's bad. But the Chiefs just don't cover. They just don't cover. If you could not beat the Raiders up, you cannot beat up anybody. I'm sorry, man. That's a team they destroy at all times, and the game was a 7-point game. I was happy to escape Allegiant Stadium with a 7-point win. You know how pathetic that is? That's horrible. It is Super Bowl champions. You're supposed to be murdering those fools. They're horrible. Horrendous. And if Gardner Minshew doesn't fumble the ball, they're in the game. You got to show me more Kansas City. Until you do, I'm going to bet against you. Bucks points plus 9.5 is the play. Let's see the Wizzes ticket, guys.
Had a nice win last week on my teaser ticket, so hoping to continue that trend. I have the Cleveland Browns plus 7.5. I think they can win that game, so I feel very confident about the touchdown plus the hook. I have the New Orleans Saints -1 against the Panthers. If Derek Carr can't do that, he should retire immediately in the middle of the season. And then I have the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 13.5. I mean, I know I took against them when it comes to the spread regularly, but I haven't seen the. I mean, I feel that'd be pretty nuts. If they won by 14, 2 touchdowns, that'd be pretty crazy, considering that Jacksonville's kept some, especially like last week, kept the game close against the Packers at home. That'd be pretty crazy. I
Jags are
would
going to be in
seriously.
the game, guys. I'm telling you, I feel very confident
The
about
plus
that.
13.5 is great. I really like that. So
Eagles
hopefully I can win
haven't
2 in a row
Eagles
here.
haven't put together back-to-back great performances in a while. That's the show, guys. We'll be back next week for Week 10. Enjoy, like, subscribe. We appreciate all the love. Appreciate people who are listening through us over an hour every week just to try to win some money. Spencer, enjoy the games. I'll see you later.
All right, see you later, guys.
We're